Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to find the minimum cost of balanced transportation model using Excel solver. This problem has four sources, which are the four factories that have certain maximum capacity to supply and markets that have certain maximum demand. The table also shows the cost of transporting unit from each factory to each market. For example, $4 cost of transporting something from factory B to market B and so on. Our objective is to minimize our transportation costs. Our decision variables are the quantity of materials shipped from each of the four factories to each of the four markets, which is a total of 16 variables. So in order to have an easier way of solving, let us copy the existing table and delete the values of 16 variables. The next thing to do is to cut the capacity column and paste it one space away to formulate the constraints. The same goes for demand. The first four constraints are about the supply from the factory. So the total supplies of factory 1 would be the sum of supplies to each of the four markets. Drag it down to apply it to other factories. Similarly, the supply at the market would be the sum of the supply to the market from each of the four factories. Drag it to apply to the remaining markets. Then we need the total cost, which is a formula of the sum product of the unit cost and quantity of the material shipped. Now let us proceed to the solver data. Our target cell is the total cost, which we need to minimize, which is B11 to E14. Now, let's add the constraints. Materials shipped to the company should be less than or equal to the capacity of the factory. Then, click Add. The next one is the total materials reaching the market should be equal to the demand. Solving method is simplex LT and make unconstrained variables non-negative and then click Solve. So this is the final solution. The total minimum cost is 3,550 to transport the required quantities. We would ship 50 units of material from Factory 1 to Market A, 200 units of materials from Factory 2 to Market B, 100 units of material from Factory 2 to Market A, 200 units of material from Factory 2 to Market B, 100 units of material from Factory 3 to Market A, and 200 materials from Factory 4 to Market C.
Hi, I'm Yarel Serrano and now I will show you how to solve unbalanced transportation model using Excel solver. As you can see, here is our initial table for our problem and its objective is to minimize its cost. It is unbalanced because the total amount of the supply and the demand are not equal. And because of that, we would add a dummy row if the demand exceeds the supply and a dummy column if the supply exceeds the demand. So now we will first copy our table, initial table, then just paste it on the side. Then after that, we will add a dummy column because our supply exceeds our demand by the amount of 900. Now click home, then add or insert a column and we will name it to destination E or warehouse E, and its amount is 0 because it is a dummy and it would not have any effect on our total cost, and its demand will be the amount of 900. in order for the demand to have an equal amount with the supply. Now, we will input a formula for our total mean cost, which is sum product equal sign, then sum product. Then we will create the cell from our second table which we created, the dummy column, from cell J5 until N7. Then another one which is the changing variables, which is highlighted with a color yellow. Then click enter. And for our right hand side, we will just copy the amount of our supply and just paste it on our right hand side for our supply. Then for the left hand side, we will create a formula which is the sum, and just click the cell from our first row, which is cell C15 to cell G15. Okay, wait, it didn't. Let's try it again. Click C15 to G15, then click enter, then just drag it down for the other two rows. And for our relation, it is less than or equal to, because our problem is minimization, and its sign is less than or equal to. For our right hand side, for our demand, just copy it again and paste it to our right hand side. And for our left hand side, we will do the same formula, which is sum. Then click the cell from C15 to C17, click enter, then just drag it again to your right for the other destinations or columns. And its relation is equal, because we should exhaust the demand of our customers. And now we're done with it. We will now use the Excel solver. Click data, then click solver, and now we'll just click reset all. Now for our set objective, just click the cell E23, which is the cell reference for our total mean cost. Then click mean, because it is the objective of our problem. And for the changing variables is the cells that are highlighted with color yellow, which is from cell C15 to G17. Then we should add our constraints. For the cell reference for the supply is just click the reference from the left hand side, and its sign is less than or equal to. Then for the constraint, it is the right hand side. We just copy a while ago and click add. And now for the constraint, for the demand constraint, its cell reference again is the left hand side. Then we should change our sign to an equal sign, and its constraint is the right hand side. Then click OK. And after that, you should always check that our solving method should be simplex LP problem and not the GRG nonlinear or the evolutionary. Then click solve and click sensitivity report, so we can see which are the binding and non-binding constraints. Click OK. So now The changing variables or the decision variables are now appear in these cells which are highlighted with color yellow. So, and and our total mean cost has already shown, which is 18,000. So from plant 1, uh, it it's it should ship to warehouse A with a cost of 1,000, and from plant 1 to warehouse B it is 600, and for plant 1 to warehouse E it is 900, and from plant 2 its shipping cost would be 4,000 for warehouse C and 400 for warehouse D, while for plant 3 its shipping cost for warehouse B is 1,400, and for warehouse D it is 1,600. And take note, the amount of shipping cost from plant 1 to warehouse E, which is 900, will not have any effect from our total cost, because it is just a dummy column that we add in order to complete the total amount of our supply and demand. And that's all. Thank you.
So good morning everyone, I'm Mr. Canabaran. In this part of our video, I'm going to teach you on how to input a degenerate transportation problem into Excel in order to get the optimal solution. First, let us read the problem. The Bitumen Company operates in 3 branches, mainly in Batangas, Pampanga, and Davao. The production capacities of each plant in a year are as follows. For Batangas, it has an annual production capacity of 20 million units. Pampanga has 15 million, Davao has 25 million. This annual production capacity would serve as our supply for this transportation problem. Moving on, the company distributes its product into 3 distinct distribution centers that are located in Laguna, Cordillera, and Cebu. Their annual demand for the product is presented on the table below. Laguna, Cordillera, and Cebu has 20 million annual demand, and basically this would serve as our demand for this transportation problem. The cost of distributing of the products from 3 main branches from each distribution centers are as follows. Okay, this would be our costs as indicated in the problem. It is inputted in the table, but in reality it is in millions. Find the optimum value to minimize the cost of distributing the finished goods from the branches to distribution centers. So this problem would be minimization. Based on our initial table, here we have the initial table. As you can see on the initial table, this is the general transportation problem, since in our first cell, the supply has been fully exhausted while the demand has been fully served, and this makes our staircase-like pattern to be broken. Since our problem is minimization, let us put a 0 in the lesser cost in order for us to still have the staircase-like problem. There you have it. So now, let us input this into Excel. First, we copy this, the cost, into Excel as a shortcut. Okay, let's indicate that this is the general transportation problem. Let's highlight. And then let's just copy paste the table. Then let's add another column. This column will be our supply. Merge supply. And another row for the demand. Based on the problem, we have a supply of 20 million, I'm sorry, then 15 million, then 25 for Davao. That would be our supply. And for our demand, all of them has 20 million. So let's see. And then beside the supply column, let's add another column. This would be our total. The total of the supply that would be allocated to each distribution center. And another total for the demand. Total, let's use sum. The sum of the cells, letter D5 to F5. So let's just copy paste it. So here, copy paste. Yeah. And then let's copy this whole table again. Together with the demand and supply column. Then let's zero this out. Since this will be our changing variable cells. Here. The total will be 0. And then let's have our total cost. The cell for the total cost would indicate what would be our minimized cost for distributing the finished goods from the branches to distribution centers. So for us to get that, we would use some product of the changing variable cells to be multiplied by the cost. Initially it would be 0 since our changing variable cell has no input yet. And then put on this highlight there. And then let's now move ahead to solver. Our objective, total cost, then minimize. Always remember that our formula is minimization. Then our changing variable cells. Then add constraints. For our constraints, first the total supplies less than or equal to our supply. Add. And then total demand. Remember that it should be equal, and then demand. Remember our solving method is simplex linear programming. And then options, check. Okay. Then hit solve. As you can see, based on the problem, we have a total cost of 113 million. And then 20 will be distributed to Cebu, Batangas to Cebu, then 15 million from Pampanga to Laguna, then 5 from Davao to Laguna, and 20 from Davao to Cordillera. honestly inputting a degenerate transportation problem.
Transshipment model is similar to a transportation model, except that all nodes can be transferred from and to another nodes. It also allows product to be shipped between destinations. This is the ability that transportation model don't have. And now I will show you how to solve transshipment problem using the Excel. So this is an example of a transshipment problem, and this is about the Bavarian Motor Company. But before that, I will first explain to you what is a node and what is an arc. So in transshipment, we have different nodes or location, and between those nodes are arcs, and that would represent how much the unit cost of every shipment. So in this illustration, this column here, these two columns would be our nodes. So this would be our beginning node and this would be our ending node. And this unit cost column would be our arc. We have given each nodes a number to represent it. So as you can see in these two columns here, Newark has number 1, Boston has number 2, Columbus has number 3, Richmond has number 4, and so on and so forth. In this ship column, it will tell us how much is shipping from beginning node to an ending node. So Newark to Boston, Newark to Richmond, and so forth. These cells, or the ship column cell, are decisions on how much to ship along that certain arc. These arcs. Our objective here is to determine how much this ship will minimize the total transportation cost. This cell would be our objective function cell. So this is the sum product of our range in ship and our range in unit cost. On the right side, we see a representation for the nodes, and this is our constraints. So this would mean what's going to the node and from the nodes. We need to balance it from the amount of the given supply and demand. So in every supply or demand node, we need a constraint like this. Inflow minus outflow is greater than or equal to negative 200. So for us to find the net flow, we will use the SUMIF function. This will add all the number in a range of cells based on a given criteria. So for node 1, its given criteria is equal to negative 200. So the syntax for SUMIF function is quantity of range criteria and sum range. Range. It is the range of cells that we want to apply the criteria. Criteria is used to determine which cell is to be added. Lastly, sum range. It is the range of cells to sum together. So for node number 1, our range here is our ending nodes, or the values that we used in our ending nodes. So this column, our criteria is this cell because this value is what we used in our node number 1. And sum range is simply the ship column minus SUMIF, and its range is the beginning nodes, or the values that we used in our beginning nodes, this column. Its criteria is the same, this value, and sum range is the ship column. If you observe, the difference between the minuend and subtrahend in a specific node is its range. So the range in the minuend is the column of values that we used in the ending nodes. This column. While in the subtrahend, the range that we used, or the values that we used, are the beginning nodes. So in Boston, it has the same ranges with the Newark. Also, it's some range. The difference is its criteria because we used different value in our node number 2. So the difference between every nodes is its criteria, for we use different value that would represent each nodes. And now we must set up a constraints. So this range would be greater than or equal to the supply or demand range. So let's go to the solver. So this would be, or this cell would be our objective function. Minimize, and our decision variable is the ship column, and our subjects to constraints is our net flow column. Because it is a minimization process, we must need to set it to greater than or equal to its constraint, the supply or demand column. So make unconstrained variables null negative, then it is simplex method. So now let's solve. Keep solver solution, okay. So this is our total transportation cost. This column here is the total cost and in every shipment. So Newark to Boston, it will cost 120, Newark to Richmond 80, and so on and so forth. This column is the beginning nodes, while this column is the ending nodes. Beginning nodes are the one who distributed, so it has an outflow, while ending nodes are the one who received. That's why it has an inflow. So in Newark, it has a total of outflow of 200. In Boston, an outflow of 20. But in the column of ending nodes, Boston has a value of 120. So same process you will do to find the inflow and outflow of the rest of the nodes. So at what I said a while ago, that we need to have a constraint of inflow minus outflow must be greater than or equal to the supply or demand. Therefore, it satisfies the constraints. That would result to a total transportation cost of 22,350. So that's it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Amade from 116, and today we're going to solve balance assignment method using Excel solver. So, with my problem, a plant has 4 operators to be assigned to 4 machines. The time, which is in minutes, required by each operator to produce a product on each machine is shown. Determine the optimal assignment and compute the total minimum time of all the operators assigned in each machine. So in my case, we will be doing a minimization problem. And since this is an assignment method, the aim of this is to assign each operator to each machine. In my case, I will be using the terms operator and machine since it is the one indicated in the problem. So for now, we are going to encode 1 for the available and same with the demand. Next up is that we're going to solve the row reduction. So sum, close parenthesis, drag, close parenthesis, enter, and scroll it down to get the total. Same with the column, equal sign, sum, open parenthesis, just drag, enter, and then drag it sidewards going to drag it sidewards going to letter D. And there you have our total. So next thing that we're going to do is to copy the given, which is necessary for later. So I'm just gonna paste it underneath the total. So I'm going to paste it, and then I need to clear out the given problem, and then clear contents. So next thing that we're going to do is to get the total sum product. So equal sign, sum product, open parenthesis, drag it, then comma. This one is from the given problem earlier. Enter. And now we're going to solve using the Excel solver by going to data and then click solver. So in this case, I am going to reset everything so that I can show you the whole process. So for the set objective, I will be clicking the total. Then this is a minimization problem. For the changing variable cells, I'm going to use this unoccupied cells. Then for the constraints, add, and then I'm going to use the sign as our cell reference. I will be using equal sign since we need to satisfy the values. And then available for the constraints, add another one for the column. And then for the last one, this will be used for our binary, and then okay. So check if everything is all set. Make sure that it is in simplex LP. So click solve. Okay. So here are our final results. The final decision for operator 1 is machine D with a duration of 9 minutes. For operator 2, we have machine C with a duration of 5 minutes. For machine 3, we have a duration of 14 minutes, which is letter B. And then we also have for operator 4, which is letter A, for a duration of 9 minutes with a total of 37 minutes. So thank you for watching.
A pleasant day, everyone. I am Telsifay Mandal of 1A16 here to present to you an unbalanced minimization assignment problem. But first, what is this unbalanced assignment problem? Well, this is a special case of an assignment problem wherein the number of rows and the number of columns are not equal. However, we can still solve this by either adding a dummy column or a dummy row, and we shall input the value of 0 as its cost or profit. So, without further ado, let's move on to our main problem for today. So we have this problem. Wax Novales is the CEO of the Ringers Company, a donut corporation that has already been 3 years in the industry. With this duration of existence, the CEO decided to expand, setting up 5 more branches of bakeries. However, the company would want to purchase 5 machines but has 6 machines to choose from in order for each one to be allocated to a single branch. As this is a new business venture for the company, the CEO would want to know how he could minimize the cost of using each machine for a branch. The cost of each machine is given in the following table. So we have here the raw information set in a table. As we can see, there are 6 machines, which means there are 6 columns, and then there are 5 branches, which means there are 5 rows. So we can see here that the number of rows is not equal to the number of machines. Therefore, we shall add an additional row, or what we call dummy row. So let's input this information towards an Excel file. So in an Excel, and here I have provided beforehand the table that we shall need. So first, in order for us to solve this, we're going to use an Excel solver. Through the use of technology, we can see the minimal cost of each machine for the branch that they are going to be assigned to. Now that we have transferred the information from the Word file towards the Excel file, we're now going to use an Excel solver in order. Now that we have transferred the information from the Word file towards the Excel file, we're going to use an Excel solver in all. Now that we have transferred the information from the Word file towards the Excel file, we're going to use an Excel solver in order to solve this problem. However, we shall first set up a table in order for this to be accepted and for it to be solved by the Excel solver. So we can see that there are machines totaled to a number of 6, and there are 5 branches. So you can see that the rows is less than the number of columns. Therefore, we shall add a dummy row. Now, we shall input the value of 0 as the cost of each machine. Now, in setting up the table, we shall add 2 additional columns titled Available and Assigned. Available and Assigned. Now the values that we're going to input for the cells under available will be 1. As for the assigned column, we're going to input the sum formula, wherein this would sum up the values in a certain row. So the formula that we're going to input is through this. Let us put an equal sign and then sum. Double click this, so there would be an open parenthesis, and then we're going to select cell D8 and we're going to drag it up to cell I8. Close parenthesis, click enter, and we have the value of the sum of this entire row. So we can repeat this up until cell K13 through inputting the formula as well for each cell. However, we can use a shortcut version. What we do is to copy this cell, K8, Control C, and then select cell K9 up to K13. Control V in order to paste the formula. Now, we have all the sums of all the rows that we have here in the table. Now that we're finished inputting those 2 additional columns, we're now going to put 2 additional rows in order for us to finish setting up this table. So we're going to entitle this row as the demand row and this as the assigned row. Okay. Now the values for the demand row would be 1. And then, same for the assigned column, we're going to put a formula. So, it is also the sum formula. We're going to type it by typing or inputting sum. Double click it again. And then we're going to select the rows for the column. So it would be D8 up to D13. Close parenthesis and press enter. Now, it will also be the same for the rest of the cells in this particular row. So we're going to copy this formula in this cell, Control C, and then select cell E15 and drag it up to I15 and then Control V in order to paste the formula. And we have the summation of all the columns. So now that we are finished with this, we're going to type total. And this would also be where, this is also the cell where the final answer would take place, or the total minimum cost that we're going to incur. So, now we're going to select the main table only, Control C, you have to copy it, and then you're going to paste it here. After doing so, we're going to delete the values in this table by clicking or selecting D8 up to I13. So what we're going to do is first delete, and we have that. So we can see here that the formula is truly working since there is a summation of 0 in which truly there are no values in each sum or in each column or row. So now that we're done in setting up all of the tables here, we're going to select the data tab and select solver in order to solve this problem using an Excel solver. So what we're going to put here in the set objective is the cell where the final answer would take place, and this is cell D17. After doing so, you have to choose whether it's max or min. Since our problem asks for the minimal cost, then we choose or we click min. And this blank, by changing variable cells, this is for the empty cells of our table. So we select cells D8 up to I13. And then now, we're going to add the constraints. So, here, add. What we're going to do is to first select the assigned column. So, we have cells K8 up to cell K13. And then we change this symbol into an equal sign. And the constraint would be the cells in the available column. So this is cells J8 up to J13. So we're going to add another one, which is the demand row and the assigned row. So we have to select this one, cells D15 up to I15. Change this into an equal sign, and then select the demand row, which is the cells D14 up to I14. And then, of course, again, we're going to add another one. This is to select the empty cells, which is again D8 up to I13. Change this symbol to bin so that you have a binary constraint. And then we're going to select OK. And then this is one of the very important points to remember. Select a solving method. So we are to choose a simplex LP. And then we check everything, and then we click solve in order to see the decision and of course the assignment. Okay. And there we have it. The total minimal cost would be 326, and we have one machine to a single branch. So there is a ratio of 1:1. Now we can put here the final decision and assignment. We'll put here. Branch 2, branch 3, branch 4, branch 5, and we add a double. So we have to input here. Branch 1 is assigned with machine 1. Machine 5. And then branch 2 is assigned with machine 2. Branch 3 with machine 1. Branch 4 with machine 6. Branch 5 with machine 4. And then dummy row would have machine 3, whereas machine 3 would not be assigned to any branch. Now the values, we are to put the original values of machines that are allocated to each branch. So machine 5 has 56. Machine 2 we have 64. Machine 1 we have 56. So it's again machine 6 we have 90. And then machine 4, which is 104. I'm sorry, it would be 60. After you check, dummy row, we are to put 0. So we are going to check. Branch 5 would have machine 4 as 60. Branch 4 would have machine 6 as 90. We have branch 3 to have machine 1, which is the value of 56, and then branch 2 have 64. And then for machine 5, for branch 1, we have 56. So in order to check the total that has come up here in this cell, we're going to put the summation here. Once again, we're going to input a formula, the sum formula, in order to check. So sum, okay, and then select. We are going to select cells 08 up to 013. Close the parenthesis and then hit enter. And thus, we have also the same total as what the solver had. So it is indeed 326. So this just means that the decision in the assignment is that branch 1 would have machine 5 with a cost of 56,000. Branch 2 would have machine 2 with a cost of 64,000. Branch 3 would have machine 1 as 56,000. Branch 4 would have machine 6 with a cost of 90,000. And branch 5 would have machine 4 with a cost of 60,000. And then we have machine 3, which wouldn't be allocated to any of the branches which is given in the problem. Therefore, when we add all of these values, we would get the total cost of 326. So, once again, I am Josephine Marandal of 1A16, and this is an example of an unbalanced minimization assignment problem. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Hi guys, this is Anna Molo, and for today's video, I'm gonna show you how to solve a degenerate assignment problem using Excel Solver. So here we have the initial table. The column represent the region, so we have region A, B, C, and D. We also have 4 salesperson to cover each region. And we can see their respective time to cover the specific region. So this is a degenerate assignment problem. The case is salesperson 1 refused to cover region B, so we'll just use any letter or symbol to represent the pairing. So let's just use letter E. And we can move on to the next step. The solution will be performed the same and the letter will be ignored throughout the computation. So take note that in solving an assignment problem, it should follow the 1:1 ratio. So we'll just copy the table. Then we'll clear the contents, and this will be our decision variables. Okay. So the column should be, of course, equals to 1. So we'll use sum. Then click the respective cells. Also, the rows should be equal to 1. So, equals sum. That's for the total. Minimize amount of time. Here. Total. We'll just use the sum product of our decision variables, and the respective time the salesperson required to cover each region. Click the Data tab, click Solver. Objective cell is the total amount of time. Next, of course, minimize. By changing variable cells, click the decision variables. Then, subject to the constraints, of course, let's add our first constraint. The decision variables must be must be binary. Then, let's add few more constraints. The sum of the rows must be equal to 1. Then, for the last constraint, the sum of these columns must be also equal to 1. And okay. Then, solve. Okay. So as we can see, the total minimized amount of time to cover the city is 156. Salesperson 1 is to cover region B. Salesperson 2 is to cover region D. 3 to region C, and salesperson 4 is to cover region A. And that's it for our video about the generic assignment model.